Hey gamers, what's up? It's Dom here back once again. We're talking Operation Harsh Doorstop, a game that's fairly polarizing right now, from what I've seen. So I was scrolling by on the Twitter machine. People were like, "Hey, check out this game. It's fairly similar to games you play. You know, Arma, Hell Let Loose, Squad, all that shebang, the milsim stuff." In particular, though, it's been compared more towards the Arma scale because its modding potential is just unfathomable, apparently. And I've checked out the workshop. The game's been out for like 2 days, and they got stuff for Halo. Apparently, there's like underground Star Wars mod, as every underground Star Wars mod is apparently for games like this. There's like toy soldiers, like little plastic men mod stuff, adding new factions. Like, it's pretty cool. And this game is FREE. But why is a free game polarizing? Is it a battle pass? Is it something shady else going on? Are they stealing our data? And I don't know, some type of, what's going on? It's actually none of that. So it's a YouTuber named Blue Drake who is primarily funding this game off of his own, Patreon, stuff like that. You can buy DLC for this game that contributes to the funding of this game, but it does not have battle pass. It doesn't have any of that. It's very straightforward: home, single player, multiplayer. That's it. There's not, battle pass, tiers, skins you gotta buy, all that. And honestly, when I was looking at the game, I thought it was going to be where it's actually locked off based on like time periods, because I even had floated that idea to my friends. We were talking about back in the day with Battlefield 2042 and the portal of like how they could approach it is you have the base game, which is future, and then you have by modern day, by Cold War, by the eras, colonial, War One, War Two, whatever. Game doesn't do that. Here we go. You can see US, Vietnam, the Warmock, War Two, War One, Cold War, PMC's Insurgents, all of that for free. And then add on top of it the modding workshop, okay? But what makes this game polarizing is probably because it can feel a little bare bones at times. And let's just jump straight into the game here. I'm going to be playing it single player for this video. I think me talking about this game is best by actually playing it, and we'll go into more discussions, probably in more videos showing off like mods, multiplayer, all that. But today we're going to keep it more single player focused. There's only two game modes here, advanced and secure and training on single player. Multiplayer does have some other stuff. I think there's like King of the Hill. I'm very curious if they'll actually get like roleplay stuff or whatnot, because that's what really would put it on par with a game like Arma in particular. Squad, Hell Let Loose, all those games are good, but they're specialized games. While we get talking about that, let's do 16 versus 16. Keep it real simple. We're gonna do the trenches of World War One, and we'll just do USA and Germany, World War One, and we'll just hit start, and we'll just talk while we let it load. You can see how long it takes to load up. I will say you can tweak around some settings. I highly recommend turning on like VSync and FPS limit in the main menu. You don't want to burn your computer, your GPU. It was like cooking bacon. It was ridiculously hot, but once I frame limit all that stuff and put the limit, it runs great. And I still have all the settings maxed out, ultra, all that. It's not a crazy beautiful looking game, I'll say that right now. Game is still in development. It's still free to play, and I feel weird saying that of like an excuse, because there's games like 7 Days to Die I've been playing for 10 years, which is still early access, and at some point you have to say that's no longer an excuse if that game like is on console. But I think let's give this game a little bit of leeway because it did just come out. And talking about the games like Squad and Hell Let Loose, those are specialized games. I think why a game like this is so polarizing is because it's the buffet table. You can mix and match. You could put, you can have a little tuna sandwich with fried chicken on the side, and you could have tequila. Like, you could just do whatever, okay? Where if you go to an Italian restaurant, you only get Italian food. If you go to a Mexican restaurant, you only get Mexican food. Only Indian food. Same thing with like Hell Let Loose. You're only getting World War II. Squad, you're only getting modern day. Now you can deviate a little bit of squad with like, I think there was like some mods coming out there, but it's pretty straightforward. You know what you're getting there. Whereas here, you saw the different time periods you can go back and forth with. So I'm gonna go here, War 1. Let's show off some of the gameplay. I actually go through, show you the settings real quick as I go and turn down the sound. I can tell. Just bump it down to 5. Audio quality, all that. We're just gonna bump her all the way up. So yeah, video, I definitely said, VSync, frame rate limit, I set to 60. I don't care for 100. You can make it ridiculous for 100 if you want, or 20 if you want to play it like Arma, literally, actually. But I haven't actually had any problems really with the game. Knock on wood from this video, no crashes. Once I limited, no cooking bacon on my GPU, any of that. I know some people are having some problems, which is like understandable to see, gonna figure out the tech workings of the game, how everyone's computer's working with it. Of course, they're mostly talking about base game too, not mods. So I'm very curious what mods and all that. Also, don't forget to turn off motion blur. That was enabled by default. Blue Drake, what are you doing? You're a YouTuber, man. I know it's in your game, but just turn that shit off by default, man. So if you're like me and you record, turn that motion blur stuff off. It makes it way better. I'll give you a prime example. This is on a side note. Look at that. You're probably like, stop that. Yeah. So let's go here. And let's show you some of the gunplay here. So, you can go here, you can lean. I should actually go to controls and show you, there's leaning, there's vaulting, jumping. Wow, a military game with jumping, crazy. Haven't seen one of those. Some weapon slots, a whole bunch of weapon slots. Push to talk, you can type, scoreboard, use, there's a radio menu. So a whole bunch of stuff here. I think, are we going that way? So the AI are, they're doing their thing. They're shooting. Am I? Okay. I was like, where do I need to be looking? So, stuff that I want to see from this game. So I'm pretty chill with it so far, of like the base, giving us World War 1, World War 2, Cold War, PMC, modern day, all that stuff. What I want to see with this game is just the added on of like more and more. Did I just finally go? More and more features to play with. In particular, 2 big things that I think would really set this on par to be a Arma competitor. As much as I love Arma, competition's great, and a game like that isn't really pushing out a ton of updates, especially as they're focusing more towards Arma 4 and the Forger. This game will probably just work on itself, which is what it needs to do. It just needs to build something and then have Operation Harsh Doorstop too. Which, on a side note, I'm not crazy about the name of the game. I don't know about you guys. I feel like that just doesn't, like, guys, hop on Operation Doorstop. Yeah, let's go on. I think the game needed a better name. I don't know where the name came from. If you guys know, leave down below. I'm actually kind of curious, but I don't know, like Arma, Squad, Get Let Loose, Postscriptum, like those kind of all, have that flow to it. Operation Harsh Doorstop. I think it's a little too wordy, but that's just me. That's kind of a minor gripe for, a game like this, of what it could become. And I think this is a game of a lot of could becomes, and it gives a fairly good foundation at the start here. So like animations here, this is definitely something that needs touched up on. I'll say that. It doesn't feel like the greatest, in my opinion, but it doesn't have a big AAA budget. So I think there's some things you kind of forgive with, like, the first person community of having like ungodly animation expectations. So, but to go back full circle, what I was saying, the 2 big things I think this game needs to kind of set it on par with a game like Arma is, one, like a game master, like an editor. I think that would be something big, something that lets you like adapt and create your own missions on top of this. Like, I know it's probably going to be possible, it might already be possible, but it just doesn't feel like it right now. Like, maybe it's something that they're just like, oh yeah, we'll let the players make something like that. But I feel like maybe that could be something on the development side that is like offered. from the game. So, because I feel like that could be something very, very interesting. And the second one is definitely the ability to just fully obliterate the terrain, like having the ability to, like, you know, shoot that tree and then it's gonna collapse. Or I think I did see a mod where like I could build like trenches and stuff like that. So having the ability to kind of play with the terrain a little bit, I think is something big. For me personally, I know not everyone feels that way of like, oh, I don't want to be in a house and then it blows up, you know. I personally do, but I think that's where having that option also to turn that on or off, just like I've seen mods for this game already that can turn it into like Call of Duty. You can add in sliding, add in, you know, right now there's no crosshair, but you can add in crosshairs and all that. So, and I'm very curious, you know, what the modding community will do for a game like this. There's also a mod that adds third-person mode. That's another thing that I think, personally, maybe like that also should be a thing included, just base game-wise. I don't know if you need a mod for that. Point being, okay, Arma should have had a jumping in the base game. Why that's not is whatever, you know. But I think that is something that at least having that option, and then you can restrict it. You know, I think it should be definitely a game of options, and then letting players create their own restrictions of like, okay guys, kit restriction, only snipers, with only third person or something. I don't know, only no scope third person. So that's a little bit of the World War I trenches here. I'm actually gonna leave the game here, and we'll go back to single player. Let's go do some training real quick with some of the PMC weapons. Why not? I think that's... It'll just throw me in here. Turn off bots? Yeah. Okay. So we can try out some different weapons here. Go squad leader here. And let's go PMC side. We'll try out... Let's do Rifleman. Select spawn, US HQ. Here we go. So this is like a little training area. You can try out some of the weapons. And gunplay feels okay. You know, I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's like the greatest thing in the world, honestly, right now. If you're into more games like, I think, Rising, Storm, Vietnam, I think you'll like it more. I personally am actually not too crazy about that type of game's gunplay. But I also am completely fine dealing with some of Arma's gunplay at the same time, so you know, don't go into expecting Call of Duty level of gunplay and animations, you know, like I said, or even customization. I think honestly having like, man, I really don't want to be that guy with something like this, because I don't even know if it's even needed, but you know, trying to Arma Operation Harsh Doorstop, because it's got a lot of the features of like a lot of other games, putting it on par with, like I said, Squad, Hell Let Loose, Prescriptive, Verdun, all the shebang, you know. But you know, coming from it as an Arma player side of things, I'm like, oh, this game needs an inventory system. So that way, because like I killed a guy and I don't even think I could actually pick up his stuff, and that just seems like something that, you know, I would want to be able to do, or you know, have an inventory system. I don't think, let me check the controls again, there is anything for inventory, which would have been nice, because when I run out of ammo, or I, you know, run out of grenades, or whatever I run out of, I want to be able to be like, oh shoot, let me pick up the dead guy's stuff, you know? So, or, you know, adapt a little bit to the loadouts. So, you know, there's some things there that I personally would want to see out of a game like this, and I think that is, from what I've read about Blue Drake and watched a couple videos, the developers, I think they're really going to bounce off of the community and what they want, and that would be really nice. I'm very curious how this game will implement a lot of things. And this is a game of a lot of curiosity. This is a game you should go jump and play right now, endlessly, non-stop. You know, I'm never gonna tell you like, no, don't do that, or yes, do that. I'll say give it a shot, and if you like it and you love it, you know, gameplay wise, I don't know if you'll find like a huge amount of gameplay personally. Currently in the game state, and I hate talking about a game in a way that's like, oh yeah, it's this and that. You know, I try to give you some pros, some cons, you know, let be in your hands and kind of bounce back what you guys think about the game. Ultimately though, I dig it. I kind of feel like there is a future with a game like this if it doesn't get abandoned, and if the community and the modders don't abandon it too. So let's just see where the game takes us. And this is like a part 1 of talking about this game. This was just kind of showing off single player stuff, me walking around and talking, doing that World War I thing. Next time we're gonna jump in and hopefully do some multiplayer, hopefully grab some friends for the next part of this and see how that goes. And then also try out the modding scene, try out some of the mods, and we'll just kind of see how that all pans out. So everyone, tell me your thoughts on the game down below. Let's have a discussion. Tell me about some of the things that you would like me to try out with the game, some of the things that you're liking with the game that you're not liking. And yeah, with that being said, everyone, just give it a shot. It's free to play, and I think, you know, it'll be a nice little time waster to see, you know, is this a game that you want to drop some time into, not even drop money into. Like I said, it's completely free to play. It feels weird criticizing a game that's free to play that also doesn't have, like, I'm so confused how they're making money on a game like this, honestly, outside of Patreon. So yeah, maybe it's just building that repertoire, that reputation that then they're going to use for another game. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how that all pans out. It's been a long outro, so we're just gonna cut it here. See you later, alligators.